Watch this video to learn how to play famous phrases from Piano Adventures Level 2A Technique Book. And we are looking at famous phrases. There are famous phrases for the right hand to play, and there are famous phrases for the left hand to play. Now, these are phrases out of songs that you might have heard before. And what you'll notice is that we are playing with the dynamics here. So we have recently learned how to play crescendos and diminuendos. And you will see that there are crescendos and diminuendos throughout these examples. This one just has a crescendo. It's your job with these examples to do your very best artistic playing. We are looking for gradual shifts in dynamics. The notes of these exercises are not so hard, but the dynamics take a lot of control to do. Let's start by looking at Silent Night. With Silent Night, you begin with your third finger on D, and you start out mezzo piano. For sleeping, when you get to Heavenly Peace, by then you should be probably mezzo forte. Heavenly, it diminuendos, P, piano here, peace. So the loudest part of the phrase is heavenly, and the softest part of the phrase is the second note of peace. It sounds like this. The next one is Scarborough Fair. Scarborough Fair begins on D also, but it begins with your first finger on D. This one begins piano. Are you? Here there's a crescendo. Each note should be a little bit louder. Going to, and now the diminuendo starts. Scarborough Fair. The loudest part of this phrase is the word to. It starts to cut back with Scarborough. The softest parts of the phrase are the beginning and the end. It sounds like this. Now let's look at Joshua Fought the Battle of Jericho. In Joshua Fought the Battle of Jericho, we are not having any diminuendos. Everything is a crescendo. We are beginning mezzo piano and we are working our way up to forte, and at the very end we also have an accent note. This one I find is the least familiar of these phrases to students. This one sounds like this. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. Adding the dynamics in, but before that I want you to notice your second finger is going to cross to C sharp and then come right back. So adding the dynamics in, it sounds like this. I'm going to have you pause the video now and follow some independent study instructions. Okay, it is your turn to pause this video and practice the right hand samples from famous phrases on your own. You should play each of them 3 times, and I want you to play them carefully, which means I do not want you to play them fast. Play them at a good tempo that you can control, and deliberately, which means that with each note, I want you to think about what you are playing and how you are expressing it. These are your mastery checkpoints to evaluate your performance. Let's now take a look at famous phrases for the left hand. The first one is the Riddle Song. The next one is He's a Jolly Good Fellow. And the last one is Snake Charmer. All of the famous phrases for the right hand started on Ds. You'll notice that all of these famous phrases also start on the same note, but the note this time will be C. Also, with this hand, we are always starting with your 5th finger on C, so you can start in the same position every time. Let's begin by looking at the Riddle Song. Out of the ones on this page, I find this is the least familiar to students. So here's how this one sounds. I gave my love a cherry without a stone. So this one starts out piano and it ends piano, and the loudest note is in the middle when you say re. So the second syllable of cherry. It sounds like this on the piano. For he's a jolly good fellow only has a crescendo, just like Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho only had a crescendo. We're going to start out mezzo forte with this and make our way to forte. So actually the crescendo is long. It covers jolly good fellow, but during that time we are only moving up one shade. So we need to be very careful to make distinctive changes that are gradual between each of those notes. Here's how this one sounds. You'll notice that my thumb had to stretch to hit that note. The last one is a snake charmer. The snake charmer has a double crescendo diminuendo pattern. So there are 2 phrases here, whereas every other piece has had 1 phrase. So we're going to make sure to make each of these phrases a motive. So this one here, we're going to start out piano. This is the loudest note, the E flat, and then we're going to come back down to piano so that this phrase also starts piano. And then this note, the G, is going to be the loudest note here. Here's how this one sounds. I'm going to have you pause the video now to do some independent study. Okay, it is your turn to pause this video and practice the famous phrases for your left hand. You should again play them each 3 times carefully and deliberately. These are your mastery checkpoints. Use them to evaluate yourself and improve each time that you play. You have reached the end of this video. Great job learning how to play the famous phrases. You are ready to incorporate them into your practice this week. Thank you.